Notice this says the 1776 census. Now, many of you would think, wait a minute, I thought the first earliest census they had is 1790. And some would think that you can't tie your people before the 1870 census, but you can. Because coming in on some of these forms, you'll notice it says black man, black woman, but also to the right, you have a Negro category. Notice it doesn't say slave category. Now, they played games in the future after 1790 and they changed in the federal census. Mostly everybody was listed as a slave if you were black or whatever. But even on this, they were still trying to figure out what to call us. Because as you can see at the top of this paper, you have Negro, 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 right? But on the top of this paper, same census, black, 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 right? What's the difference? Now, many of you all would say, well, Negro is Spanish for black, so of course, right? But why would the English, who at the time despised the Spaniards who had part of the country, why would they actually be utilizing their words to describe people? Like, why would they say you're a Negro when these people don't even speak Spanish, they speak English? But that's not what this video is about. That's just a little something to get in your head. But we're going to be talking about what I've talked about before, Oscar Dunn. And for those who know, Oscar Dunn was the lieutenant governor of Louisiana who became the governor, the first black governor, supposedly. That's a whole nother story. But he was the governor, O.J. Dunn of Louisiana in 1868, just 3 years after so-called slavery. Now, I've been playing a game of who had the surname first under the Dunns for quite some time. Why? Because the Dunn surname has a literal definition that is Anglo-Celtic, but it means of a dark brown complexion. Henry the Dunn, Henry the dark brown complexion guy. Henry the Henry the dark brown complexion person. Okay, that's if anybody has the last name Dunn, even if you were an Anglo-Saxon Celt, you should still be a brown complected person. So we see Dunn, he's brown complected. But if you go to this document here, because there's YT people who have the last name Dunn, right? Which means a brown complected person, right? They'll tell you that James Dunn was the founder of the Dunn family, and he got from Ireland to Virginia in 1762. So what they're claiming is that this YT man is the first one to come over with a last name denoting a brown complected person. I know that they stole this last name and they didn't know what it means. That's what I'm getting at. But we're going to go forward to prove that. So James Dunn, a brown complected YT man coming over in 1762 to Virginia, right? Now that's funny because Mr. Oscar Dunn, Oscar James Dunn, his name being James Dunn in the middle name James Dunn. Remember, James Dunn is who they claim this YT person is also. But Oscar Dunn got James from his dad, James Dunn. So Oscar Dunn's dad is James Dunn, not James Dunn the YT man, because his dark skin being that dark would be impossible if he was a mulatto. So this is James Dunn's supposed son, Samuel Dunn. So this is how you know they're talking about a YT person. They don't have a photo of their original James Dunn, right? But these are the offsprings, right? So they get there in Virginia around the time James Dunn was in Virginia. Now, I gotta find it, but James Dunn was born in Virginia. He eventually moved to the Louisiana area. Oscar Dunn was eventually born in Louisiana, 1819. But James Dunn started in Virginia. So what caused James Dunn to leave Virginia while at the same time, a new James Dunn showed up on the shores. That James Dunn. Is that a coincidence? Too much of a coincidence? A James Dunn came over from Ireland in 1700s, while at the same time, a James Dunn was leaving Virginia at the same time in the 1700s. So who had the surnames first? Well, I may have just cracked that case. And this is likely why a lot of on the census.gov website, they will tell you that many of the earlier censuses were burned by the British during certain war periods, 1790, 1812, 1800. Why were they burning the census forms from previous years? Well, again, who had the name first of Dunn? Was it James Dunn in 1762 coming over? Well, let's see if James Dunn was the first, then in 1762, he should be the only Dunn in the United States, meaning Virginia area. I'm going to look in the 1776 Maryland area. And on this page, I wasn't even really looking for this. I was on this census thing for a completely other reason. But when I was looking through it, and I'm going to look through for more of them, I'm pretty sure I will find more of them. This was a pretty big surname. But when I look in here, you have a George Dunn, 23 years of age. What does that mean? That means George Dunn would have been here and been born around 1753, which means somebody here in the United States had the Dunn surname before your so-called founder of the Dunn family showed up to the shores. So how can you be the founder of the Dunn family when at the same time you weren't even here when another person with the last name Dunn was here? Now maybe they'll try to write this off and say, well, he's just the founder of our particular section of Dunns. But that doesn't make sense, because when you read the entire thing in this paragraph, they making it seem like, hey, he was born in Dunn County, whatever, Ireland in 1724. Married old girl Martha Long. Family came over to the colonies, settling in Virginia around 17 whatever, and started having kids. Moved to Kentucky, all this other stuff. Okay, and then from their progeny, they start to build their family. Now you can say this is just one of them, but why would they call him the founder? Of the Dunn family, not the founder of our family. So in my opinion, they're literally claiming to be the first, even though the name clearly denotes somebody of a brown complexion, no matter whether you're an Anglo or a Saxon or a Celt, which was prior to those. And unfortunately, we don't really know the exact date of his father's birth. Possibly 1715 or so. 1751 to 1780, something said. So it's kind of iffy. But you got to think about this. How does a man become such a rise to such prominence? But we don't even know the small details like his mother and father's date of birth and his grandparents. I have yet to find zero information about his grandparents. Probably because they got rid of those records, right? And not only that, I found a bunch of Dunns listed in the 1830 free Negro owners of slaves. Notice when I search Dunn, you get that many results, and there's many of them all throughout different states. Notice one of those are Virginia, and some more in Virginia. But regardless of that, think about this. We have people with the last name Dunn prior to 1760s in the census that are listed. We don't know if they're free or slaves, but they don't say either or. But then by all of a sudden, 1830, we have them listed, a bunch of them, as free and owning slaves. These people be playing. I don't have much time. I was really going to go into more, but I'll be making a whole documentary about this one day.